So this is the Xbox Series X. As you can tell, this is basically the console that is very refined, knows what it is. It's also falling into the whole, if a gaming company was also a software company a la Microsoft, this is what the next generation console would look like. This is something that you can easily put in your entertainment system and it'll blend in quite nicely. It's not a standout like the PS5, however, this console is also the kind of console you'd want to take to your parents to give as a gift and not make it look like an obnoxious trophy. That being said, the Xbox Series X is one of those consoles that fall into the whole, it doesn't look much, but it has what's on the inside that counts kind of a look. And here's a bit more detail on the next contender from Microsoft. The console itself is much smaller than the PlayStation 5 for a very easy comparison. On the top is the grille, which is also inlaid with a green layer, which makes it look like the Xbox has a bit of green lighting. However, this is what houses the fan. It's a very big fan, but surprisingly cool, and in fact, it doesn't really feel that hot unless it's running under extreme stress, which you might feel a little warmth, but nothing more than that. And this is going to be perfect for living room gaming experiences. We've tested out Assassin's Creed Valhalla on this. More on that in just a second. But here's a bit more about the ports. The front side is quite simple. We have the USB port here. There are 3 of them, 1 in the front, 2 at the back. This is the button to sync up with the controller. And obviously you have your disk drive right here. Keep in mind that the Xbox Series X also comes in 2 different iterations. There's the Xbox Series S, which is the digital version, and also the fact that it's an underpowered version of this. This box in particular can run games up to 4K 120 FPS depending on the game and the TV you're using. We were lucky enough to have the Samsung QLED 8K for me to test this on, and long story short, games look absolutely phenomenal. They load extremely quick. I don't have a PlayStation 5 to compare loading times to, however, Assassin's Creed Valhalla loaded up in less than 11 seconds. So to say that if you want to sit down and have a quick game in your free time, you can actually do that. That's going to be very much possible. Now, coming back to the ports, there are 2 more at the back. There's an SSD expansion slot. This is a 1 TB device. And unlike the PlayStation 5, this is actually having 800 GB of usable space. You have an Ethernet cable, your HDMI 2.1 out, which Xbox has gladly provided. So you can basically connect this to any high-end smart TV and get the variable refresh rate that you need. And finally, you have the power cord at the back. And it's all nicely laid out at the back, so you can easily set this up. And one thing I will give Xbox credit for is that they've understood the need, we'll move that out of the way. They understood the need that people don't like putting up their consoles or like in any particular way. They don't want to force anyone to do that. So they've actually had bumpers here, so you can nicely keep that there. And now you have a console which also doubles up as a subwoofer in terms of aesthetics. And finally, on the base plate is a little Easter egg of Xbox's own. It is the words Xbox and Hello from Seattle, which is the headquarters of Microsoft. And this is the Xbox Series X controller. Not much has changed since the Xbox 360 controller, other than the fact there's now a new share button, and there's a bit much better textured grip for people to play on long-term usage. I quite frankly love the Xbox Series controllers because they were the kind that you could grab on for hours and generally not feel any sense of cramping. And this is something that I personally had an issue with the PlayStation 4 controller, and then again, I never actually grew up with the PlayStation 4 as much as I did with the Xbox 360, so that's a bit of a personal taste. However, the controller is timeless, it's old, it's reliable, and when I say old and reliable, I mean it is tried and tested, and the fact that Microsoft did not diverge too much from the original design, and they've kept a little slim version. So to keep it in more modern times, they removed most of the bezels, and they kept it very clean, minimal, and quite nice actually. And the backside is a USB-C controller, not a USB-C controller, sorry. This is the USB-C cable for charging it. But the wireless response on this controller is also a bit more better. And overall, I think Xbox have generally gone with the tried and tested formula, like I mentioned. So there's not much to talk about with the controller. However, the biggest thing that anyone would talk about the Xbox is the games, and of which, unfortunately, Xbox doesn't have too many launch titles, other than the fact that you have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which we're also going to be talking about in just a second. But with all of Xbox's grand plans, with Halo not being here in this year on the account of the pandemic, Xbox's true strength comes with the fact that if, in gaming terms, if PlayStation was cinema, Xbox is Netflix.